Let's continue on with our deep dive into sketch mode, and this one on different geometry tools is going to be a bit of a departure from the other ones because I'm going to start off showing some assembly modeling tools, and at the end I'm even going to show a family table. Here I have an assembly open and it just has one component, this cover part, and I want to use some of the geometry as references for the new part that I'm creating. You could just create your new part and then reference the geometry directly, but I want to show you the proper way of doing that. So first off, we're going to create our new part. Go to the Create Component dialog box. The radio button for part is selected, and I'm just going to leave the default file name, and I'm going to use my standard default template, and let's just locate it with the default constraint. Then you can hit the check mark or middle mouse button. So here we have our part created, and I could activate it because I want to create geometry and features in it. And you'll notice that the ribbon changed to the part mode ribbon, and I could create a sketch right in here, but what you should do is create a data sharing feature like a copy geometry feature. And I am referencing this surface. That's the only geometry that I need. And from the Properties tab, I always recommend changing the name of your copy geometry feature so someone knows which component it is referencing. So let's hit the check mark. And now, to unclutter the screen, I'm going to open up the part in its own separate window. And let's turn on our datum plane display. And I want to create a sketch. And it's going to be on the datum plane called top. And let's click sketch to get into sketch mode and change to our sketch view. And I don't need to see my datum planes anymore, so let's turn off their display. In this video, the 4 commands that we're going to take a look at are going to be project, offset, thicken, and text. First off, let's start with the project command. And in earlier versions of Creo Parametric, or more accurately, Pro Engineer and Pro Engineer Wildfire, this was called Use Edge because when you click on it, it allows you to use existing edges from the model. And this could be solid geometry from features that you already have, or like what I'm doing in this situation, I'm going to be using edges from my copy geometry feature. And so you get this dialog box that opens that gives you 3 different choices, and we'll take a look at all of them. The first one is single. What that means is you're going to pick an entity and you're going to get a geometric entity that is on top of that reference that you selected. And you'll notice the way that Creo Parametric renders cylinders is as 2 half cylinders. So if you wanted both of them, you would have to do 2 left mouse clicks. And let's click the close button. And right now I'm going to turn on the option for shade closed loop so you can see that we indeed have a closed loop over here. Continuing on, let's go back to the project command and take a look at the second option, which is the chain option. With the chain option, you're going to select one edge, then hold down the control key and select another edge. And you're going to get this menu manager that allows you to select whether you want just those 2 entities, or if you selected 2 non-adjacent entities, the entities or options that you have for the different configurations. So for example, if I click next, you can see here I'm getting the closed loop. Here I have just those 2 entities. And let me choose quit out of here because I do want to show you that if we go to the project command, and again change to chain, if I select, say, this edge over here, control and select that edge, here's one potential loop. Let me click next, and there's the other potential loop between those 2 entities. Let's choose accept out of here, and now we have those particular entities selected. The third option for the project command is loop. And with loop, rather than selecting edges like we did before, you are going to select a surface, and it's going to highlight the potential closed loops on this surface. So for example, if I select the surface, for some reason, this is a weird thing in Creo Parametric. The first one doesn't get updated on the screen correctly. So if you click next and then previous, you'll see what the first loop is. And here it grabs those edges around the outside. Let me click next. And in this case now it's getting the inner loop. And if I continue clicking next, now it's getting that loop, next, the bottom one over there, next, this one over here, and next one up at the top. But the one I want is the inner loop, and then I will click accept and then done. And here you see the shading of the closed loops. And at this point, the constraints are cluttering up my display. So let's go to the in-graphics toolbar and turn off our constraints display. All right, for the next few options, let's start with a clean palette. So I'm swiping a box over all the different entities, and I hit the delete key on the keyboard. So next, after taking a look at the project command, we'll take a look at offset. And here you have the same three options, and they work in the same way as the project command. So for single, you can select a single entity. And now it's giving us an arrow on the computer screen. It says enter offset in the direction of the arrow. And I'm going to enter a small value, 0.025, because this is a very small part. And there you see the edge that we get. Let's select the same edge again. If I wanted it to go to the inside, you'll enter in a negative value, negative 0.025. And there we get the other entity. So that's good. For the chain option, just like before, you are going to select one entity, hold down the control key, select another entity, and let's choose next. Yep, that's the loop that I want. I'll click accept. Endpoints of this chain are coincident. Do you want to convert it to a loop? Yes, I do. And now for the offset in this direction, let's use a value of 0.25. And there we get our loop. Let's turn off, highlighting the closed loops. And here we have our single dimension that controls that offset. And you can change this dimension. If I change this to a value of 0.5, our offset gets bigger and all the entities change together. Let's go back to the offset command. And with the loop option, well, we've seen that one before. Pick a surface and let's click till we get the loop that we want. There's the inside loop. I will click accept. And the offset, in this case here, I want it to go to the inside, so it's going to be a negative value, negative 0.25. And there we get our offset entities to the inside. All right, that is good. But again, let's start with a clean slate. So I just swiped a box over all the different entities and hit the delete key. For the next command we'll take a look at, it is the Thicken command. And when Thicken opens, you'll notice that in addition to the options single, chain, and loop, which work the same as the project and offset commands, we also have the ability to create end caps, whether they are open, flat, or circular. And let's take a look at the difference between these. So for example, I'm going to select this edge, and now it asks me for the thickness, because what it's going to do is it's going to create two entities that are going to be the distance apart that you specify. And so for the thickness, I'm going to enter in a value of 0.5. And the offset in that direction, if I enter in a value of 0.25, I'm going to get two entities on both sides over here. And they are the basically the thickness from that I specified when I entered in the value. All right, let's take that and I'm going to undo it to get rid of it. And let's take a look at some of the different cap options. So let's go to the Thicken command again, and I'm going to keep it saying single over here and choose flat. And now let's select our same entity and use the same value and same offset in that direction. And there we get lines that cap the two ends between the offset entities. That's good. Let's hit the undo button and thicken, and let's change the end caps to circular. Select our entity and same values as before. Now you get these circular loops over on the ends. All right, undo again. And for thicken, I'm just going to show one other one. Rather than doing chain or loop, you've seen that twice already. I'm going to do a loop, and I'm going to show you that in a lot of situations when you're doing the loop, if you're selecting a closed entity, then the end caps don't matter. So for example, if I change this to circular end caps, but I'm going to select the loop over here. Let me do next and then previous, because again, for some reason, the first chain doesn't show up on the screen. Let's click the accept button and 0.5, and 0.25. We get the entities around there thickened on both sides, but the end caps had no effect in this situation. All right, this is good for what I'm going to show next in the text, but I need to create some geometry. So let's hit the check mark, and I'm going to hop back over to the assembly window for a moment, just so that when I extrude my feature, let's activate and then select the sketch, I'm going to want to make sure that I'm extruding in the right direction. Okay, let's flip over here, and this thickness is way too big. Let's make a value of 0.25. That's good, and hit the check mark. And now for the next option, let's hop back over to our own separate window. Let's hit the open button. And for the next entity, I am going to sketch on this surface. Let's select the surface and click the sketch button and go to a sketch view. All right, the text command. And this one is pretty neat. I like it. So this allows you to create sketch geometry that's text. And let's click on the button. And now I'm going to define a line. And this is sort of like the vertical orientation of your text that you're going to type. And for this one, let's choose just a simple word model. And there you see it's being created out to the left. You can change the justification. For example, could be right justified, or as I want it, center justified based on where I located it. And for the orientation, you can change bottom, middle, top, depending on what you want, but I wanted that to be the bottom of the text. All right, some of the other different options in here, I'll come back later and show you use parameter, but you have a drop-down list with a bunch of fonts. Just be aware that with some of these fonts, you can't create solid geometry out of them. They won't extrude. So just be careful of that depending on which font that you select in here. But you have a number of true type fonts in here in addition to the default 3D font, which will extrude. We already took a look at the alignment. Here we have the aspect ratio, and here you have a slider that you can use to change the aspect ratio, or you could enter in the value that you want. Maybe I want a value of 0.8. That's for the width compared to the height. You can also change the angle of the text if you want it, looking a little jaunty or fast moving. We change that to 15 degrees. And you can also control the spacing of the letters. Whoa! Let's change that back to a value of 1. If we have overlapping entities, I might not get this to extrude. There's also this option to place along a curve, and if you check that, then you'll select a curve and it'll go along that curve as opposed to being in a straight line. I'm not going to show that one. Also, we have this kerning option. Kerning is the thing that word processors do where they adjust the spacing between the letters as opposed to everything being the same width, sort of like how a typewriter does. The kerning will help you just make it look nicer. But for my intents and purposes, I don't need that one either. So let's hit the OK button, and I'm going to hit the check mark because now what I want to do is create a parameter to drive the value of this text. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Tools tab, and let's choose Parameters, and I'm going to click the plus sign to create a parameter. I'm just going to call this class. Maybe I'm going to use it for some kind of part identification or marking. And this is going to be a string, and let's just start with alpha. So that's good. I will click OK. And now let's edit definition of the sketch. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that you can change the different dimensions for controlling the location of your text, exactly where you want it to be. But now I'm going to double click on the text, and instead of using text, I could use a parameter, and we'll select that class parameter that I just created, insert selected. You'll notice that it automatically changed to the word alpha. And now let's click OK and hit the check mark, and let's use the extrude tool. And here you can see I can create these as raised letters. Let's grab the depth drag handle, and as I drag it into the part, it automatically switched to remove material because of a config.pro option. I believe it's called auto add remove material or something like that. Let's change that to 0.05 for the depth that we want to extrude this, and I will hit the check mark. And now, since we have that parameter driving the text, we could also use that in a family table. So maybe we have different variations of this. And right now, I like the family table dialog box, how it tells you how to use it. It tells you, hey, the model currently has no family table variations. So we're going to click the add column icon in order to define the columns, and then add rows to define the different instances. So let's add column, and we're going to use parameter. And where is that parameter I just created? There it is, class, insert that. And that's the only parameter that I'm going to have in here. And now let's just create 3 instances very quickly. I'm not going to bother changing the names. And let's have the second instance use a value of beta, and this third one have a value of gamma, and then click OK. And, oops, close the dialog box too soon. All right, so I've got the family table dialog box. Always, when you create your instances, you want to verify that they can be created. Great, all 3 were a success. Let's select the second instance and click Open. And here you see that we have our different extrude feature in here. Let's close this and go back to the family table and select our third instance and open it. And there it has gamma imprinted on here. All right, that is good. Let's close this one. One other thing that I want to show, let's go suppress this for a moment. And let's make this visible. In addition to using extrude on the entire feature by selecting it, as they added in Creo Parametric 5.0, you have these sketch regions that you can select. And with the sketch regions, you could select a single individual letter over here and then use, say, the extrude command on it. You could use this maybe if you only wanted to extrude part of it, or if maybe you wanted to extrude them at different heights. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more information, please visit www.creowindchill.com. If you learned something from this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like this video, please click the subscribe button to be informed when new videos are uploaded. Thank you very much.